Hello everyone, it's Annette Stevens here with ASCardDesign. I want to welcome you to my live stream and to my studio. This is my weekly live. We're going to make a card together, and this one is going to be a simple card. Again, it's going to be another thinking of you card. But anyway, if you're watching the live replay, I want to welcome you, welcome everyone coming in. So anyway, yeah, this is my weekly live, and then I have a scheduled video on Sundays. So let me switch to the table camera and we'll get started. All right, so this is the card we're going to recreate together. And this is I call it a clean and simple card. It's really easy to do. Like sometimes with card making, half the battle is the design. And we're going to use a 3D embossing folder, and it kind of does the design element for you. So it's just one of my favorite tools in the craft room is the 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we'll do this really cool background. We're going to make like a little scripty background before we stamp this floral image, and then we're going to add some Wink of Stella to give it some shine. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. So hi Ashley, welcome. Thank you for joining, and we'll just go ahead and get started. So the products I'm going to use today are, I believe, all from GinaKDesigns. So this is the ink I chose to use today, and her inks are beautiful. I love the names of her inks too. This is Sea Glass, and I love the ocean, so this is one of my favorite colors. And so we're going to use that color with this elegant script background stamp. And that's the first step we're going to do. So I'm trying to stay organized instead of just throwing things on the floor and then trying to look for them later. So anyway, that's the stamp. And we're just going to ink directly onto the stamp here instead of putting it into a platform. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I know of some other people that will be joining. They're just not here yet. So Ashley, I really appreciate you being here. I'm looking forward to your upcoming podcast on your YouTube channel. So people check that out. I am Ashley Marina. Ashley, if you want to put the link, if you feel inclined to do that, feel free to put that in the chat where people can find you. You have a lot of great insight into your niche area in school nutrition, plus a lot of other things. So I'm looking forward to hearing your podcast. All right, so we're just laying down a piece of white cardstock onto that inked up background stamp. And this is just a 8.5 by 11 sheet of white cardstock that I cut down to a 1/4 sheet. And there we have our scripty background. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I just wanted to get something into the background first. That's step number 1. And then of course we are always trying to be good in cleaning our stamps off right away. All right. I've been making a lot of thinking of you stamps lately, or cards, not stamps. And I promise my upcoming videos, my lives, I will branch out and make some other styles. I've just been on a thinking of you kick, and already I've lost the packaging, so guess what? On the floor it goes. All right, so we're bringing in this tool. This is called a mini Misty. Now, the Misty is a stamping platform. It allows you to stamp multiple times, and you're assured to get your stamp in the same exact spot each time. So this is the mini. They have a full-size one too, but for this purpose today, I just need the mini out here. So I'm just going to pop it into the corner, and I just want to make sure it's nestled right in the corner. And if you're new here, I have a photopolymer, I should say, grip mat in my mini Misty, and that's holding my cardstock down. So then we're using this stamp set from Gina K called Thoughtful Flowers, and her stamps, I just love them. They're so beautiful, but we're going to use this stamp, and it also has a coordinating die set that you can buy, and I did, because I like to die cut these elements out. So first we're going to stamp it. And we'll just place this stamp right about there. It doesn't really matter because we're going to cut it or die cut it out. And then we're just going to pick that stamp up with the door of the Misty and make sure it's down real well. I'm just going to set this here out of the way. And then we're going to just ink up that stamp with black Onyx from GinaK. And this will give it a nice crisp outline. We might have to do it twice, but we'll see. Let's get that a good even press. Somewhere I have, oh here it is. I have this stone owl. I actually got it at a home accessory store, and it's just made out of stone and it's carved. And I think it's just a decorative piece, and I cut a piece of felt at the bottom because these heavy objects like paperweights work really well to get that stamp down. And there's our image, but I am going to stamp it one more time because I want it really nice and dark. I want it to really pop out. Let's get a lot of ink on there. Focusing on the centers because sometimes those take a little extra work, and that's what we have. So you can see that script is kind of on the floral, the flowers and the leaves. All right. And then that is that. I'll put this away. Hope you're all having a good day. It's I'm in Central Ohio and it's still a heat wave, so my hair's been up. Normally I don't wear it like this, but it's really hot. And almost every day after work, I have a day job, and it's not card making. I wish it was, but it isn't. But every day after work, I meet my neighbor across the street, and she has a couple dogs, and we walk. And I was like, oh boy, I don't know if I can walk today because, you know, it's really hot out, and I'm going live. And I was going to melt. I just knew I would melt, and of course I did. So I thought, oh, what the heck. The hair just went up, and here I am. And it's fine. Okay. So we're just going to set this aside. It's pretty much already dry, but we're just going to set that aside for now. I better set it over here way out of the way until we need the die. And then the next thing we're going to do is, can't find where I put everything, we're going to bring in the embossing folder. Now, these are the two colors. I just am making pretty much this card again. So this is just cardstock I had. I'm not sure what color it is. I'm pretty sure I probably got it at Michael's, but it's a 65-pound weight cardstock. It's not real thin, but it's not the thickest. And so it's a real pretty, it's like a teal, it's like a blue-green. It's green, but leaning towards blue. This is going to be our matte layer, and I'm going to hand cut these. I'm not going to die cut these today. So I'm going to first emboss this panel, and the reason why I'm not cutting this first is because when you use a 3D embossing folder, this leaves deep impressions into the cardstock, which will shrink it. So if I cut it now and then run it through, it's going to make it smaller, a little bit smaller than what I really want it to be. So I'm just going to emboss it first and then cut. So this embossing folder is from simonsaysstamp, and it is called Leaf Tumble, and I really like it. Next week's live is going to be all about 3D embossing folders. I have two, I believe, that have emboss and cut. So they have elements inside that you can die cut out as well as embossing, and then they kind of go together, and it's really nice. So I need to get a drink of water. Sorry about that. Okay, so these embossing folders, they have two sides. All embossing folders are like this, whether it's just a standard or 3D, but they have a dipped area and a raised area. So I want this design to pop out at me. Okay, I want it raised up. So this raised up area I want underneath so it comes up, if that makes sense. And I guess, you know, it really doesn't matter if you mess up on plain cardstock, because if you you just flip it over and you're good to go. But if you had pattern paper, sometimes you can run like pattern paper through embossing folders to get a really cool effect. And you want that raised design to come up on the top side, on your pattern side. So you do want to make sure you understand that you want the raised side coming up from underneath your cardstock. So anyway, you didn't ask, but there you go. That's the explanation. Okay, let's move on. Let's bring in the Sizzix Big Shot. This is my beast of a die cutting machine, an embossing folder, and today we are embossing with it. So for that, I just need that piece and the top piece, which is a hot mess. It's cracked. It's been cut into by mistake, but it's still working. I'm gonna see if I can zoom out a little bit. There we go. All right. So then the other key thing is when you're running a 3D embossing folder, these babies are thick. So running it through straight is really hard on the embossing folder and the machine. So you want to just angle it just a little bit, just so this corner can hit the rollers that are in here first. It makes it run through easier. And by all means, every machine is different. So if your folder is being forced through, don't force it through. I've done it and my folder's cracked in two. They totally broke in two pieces. So, you know, don't do that. Just sometimes you have too many layers. This is called the sandwich, and if you have like a shim in there and it's too hard to run through, just take it out. All right, let's show you what this looks like because this is so cool. So that is 3D embossing. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite techniques. All right. Let's get this out of the way. I think I can pull that, get it out of here. And now we are going to go ahead and cut these layers. So I'm going to bring in my little mini guillotine. Isn't this cute? It's a guillotine paper cutter, but it's really small. All right, so we're going to cut the matte layer. Let's see, what did I want to cut this matte layer to? The matte panel is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And boy, this one, I might have to bring in I'm going to bring in my larger paper trimmer. Boy, let me make some room because it's a big mama. Hang on a second. This is one I use all the time, and it's on my floor. So it's a big guillotine paper trimmer from Tim Holtz Tonic Studios. So this one is what I cut all my card bases and all my cardstock from. So again, I'm going to make this matte layer 4 inches, and let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. So it's already 4 inches, almost, just a little bit over. So I'm just going to give it a quick little haircut, and then I'm going to go 5 1/4, which it already is. So that is good. And then my panel, I want it to be 3 3/4 by 5 inch. And with this design, I'm just going to take a little bit off of each edge because I want to take it down to 3 3/4. So I'll go to 4 here, and then I'll flip it and go to 3 3/4. And then I want this side to be 5, and it's 5 1/2. So I'm going to go 5 1/4, and then flip it and bring it down to 5. Okay, and then you can see these, let's zoom back out a little bit. These will fit nicely together. Let me bring it over here and give you a nice black even border all the way around. And I believe I'm done with the guillotine. And then let's go ahead and, let's see, let's go ahead and put some foam tape on here. I'm trying to think of which order I want to do this in, but let's go ahead and do this next. So this is my massive, hey Mike, thanks for joining. This is my massive roll of foam tape, and I'm going to put it on the back of my 3D embossed panel. And the reason why I'm doing foam tape is because of all these little dips and divots. It's going to be hard to glue that, and that really won't make contact onto the matte layer. So I'm going to put foam tape on the back, and I usually cut this ahead of time because it's kind of a pain, but I usually like to keep some extra layers on my roll just so I can grab them quickly. And I like to go on each end first. And let's see, we are gonna put one right there, and then just make sure those are down nice and secure. And then we're gonna just take this little pick tool and we're going to peel the backers off. Bear with me because sometimes I struggle with this. So far those two came off. Thanks for joining. Mike, there is a crown with a number 1 after your name. I have no idea what that is. I'm seeing that in the videos that I watch also, and that's something new that we're seeing, and I really don't know what it is. If anybody knows what that is, pop it in the comments. So I'm adding some liquid glue to the back of my foam tape because this foam tape is very, very sticky, and I only have one shot at getting it down on the matte layer evenly. So the liquid helps, just gives me a little float time, a little wiggle room if I need it. Like right there, I needed it. And I'm just trying to eyeball to get even margins all the way around. Mike Stevens, you're just number 1. Number 1 with a crown. How's that? It's not bad. Take that, right? Okay, so here was the first panel we did. And just to recap, we used a scripty die background, or not a scripty die, a scripty stamp background, stamped it with some ink, and we used sea glass. Right here, Gina K's sea glass. And then we stamped that background stamp, and then we stamped this floral image right on top of it to get that script all over the flowers and leaves. And now I'm going to die cut that. So we have our panel layer and the matte layer. So I'm just going to set this aside for now. I got to bring back the big shot. So let me zoom back out. I was hoping Jim would be here because I'm using his 3D printed paintbrush rest. I've been using that for my tools that I use a lot. Okay, so for this die cutting, I am gonna, for the 3D embossing folder, we just use the base platform and the top plate. But for regular stamping, I need everything. So I have a little metal shim and my magic mat. These things are a couple years old and they're just, I need new stuff. As you can see, my top plate, it's all cracked and it's just a mess. Well, hello there, Jim. Looky over here. Does that look familiar? Thank you for that. I use it all the time. All right. So we're going to bring out the coordinating dies for this stamp set. And again, the stamp set is called Thoughtful Flowers. And where's my stamp set? I'll bring it up here for you. So this is the Thoughtful Flowers stamp set. I've had this for a good year. I use it a lot for thinking of yous and sympathy cards, and then the dies that coordinate and you can cut out. I think they have, Gina K usually puts a die for everything that's on her stamp sets, so it's a good value. All right, so we just want to figure out where this goes, and I'm going to get some new tape. Hang on a second. I'm just using some mint tape. This is low-tack tape that won't tear your cardstock. Now, Jim has a crown with number 2. I don't understand what these crowns are. I'm so curious. We need to get Ashley a crown. Like I said earlier, I was watching Kathy Zilski doing a live today earlier, and she had a lot of people in her channel. She always does. I mean, who wouldn't want to watch her? But there was just a lot of people with crowns and numbers after their names, and people were asking, what's this about? So I think it's something new, but not explained. So anyway, I lined up that die, taped it down, and we're going to run it through. And then I'll save this other piece. I'm tapping the likes. Oh, okay, good, good, good. Tap those likes. Slap the likes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know that the platform, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you know, likes, it's not the end of the world if you don't get a like, but the platforms do use them to push out videos to people that, you know, if they see likes, it says, well, you know, people are liking this. We're going to put it out there for other people to see that maybe like crafting. That's how I got started watching this. I never watched craft videos. But I think the platform heard me talking about crafting once, and then boom, all of a sudden I'm getting crafting. And I think that that's true because today I looked up cooling sheets. I saw an ad for, I can't remember the name of the company, but they sell bamboo sheets that are supposed to, bed sheets that are supposed to say cool. So, you know, so you don't get warm at night. So I thought, well, I'm going to check into that. Well, I looked it up, looked up the website, and the sheets were very, very expensive, out of my budget. So I got out of it. And lo and behold, I'm getting ads all over my social media for this company's bed sheets. So now I have to deal with that. All right, again, you didn't ask, but now you know. All right, so I cut out earlier, just out of white cardstock, another one of these. Okay, I didn't stamp it because I just want to use it to glue to the back of this to give it some dimension. So we will do that next. Well, before I do anything, I've learned, put your dies away before they accidentally get thrown away. So let me pop this back in here. Throw it on the floor with the rest of the stuff. Last week we had a lady in the chat from Scotland, and she was talking about, her name was Elizabeth, and she was talking about one of her hobbies is crocheting, and she mentioned she crochets I wrote it down, positive potatoes, and I never heard of that. Do you guys know what those are? I had to look it up, and they're so cute. But they are little crocheted, you'll have to look them up, positive potatoes. They're little crocheted potatoes, and here's my stone owl again, because it reminds me, it's like the shape of this. But it's a little crocheted potato, and its hands, I'm going to see it, let me get the webcam. The hands are, I'm trying to see where I am. The hands are like this, and you write a sign, like a positive message, and then you give it to somebody. And it could be like, you know, you got this, or I forget what it said. Mashed potatoes. But this, they're really, really cute. And I think I actually watched a video on crocheting them, and I won't do it because I don't know if I would crochet it, but they are really cute. A cute way to get, I'm just laughing at the chat because if you're watching this on the replay, 2 of my brothers and my niece are in the chat, and my brothers are having a field day with this positive potatoes. They're talking about mashed potatoes and crispy potatoes. Of course, we're talking about food now, but anyway, I'm getting distracted. All right, let me go back to the table. So I've glued the blank cardstock cut out to this, and now we have a nice thick element. So I'm going to bring back my 3D embossed panel that I've glued down to the matte layer. All right. This is the sample card that I made earlier that we're recreating. All right. And so then I have a card base, and this is just half of a piece of 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and it's cut in half. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and then scored at 4 1/4. And let's just make sure it's opening the right way before I glue this down, because I want to glue this down first. And the other thing is, what's nice when you're doing a 3D embossed folder, or just any embossed folder, matting it onto a matte layer, whether it's black or any other color, really gives a nice grounding area to lay flat on your card base. Because I don't know if you saw me earlier, but the back side of this has a lot of divots, and it wouldn't really lay flat. So I'm just putting glue all the way around, and we'll just put that down. Okay. And then that's going to go on there somewhere. I want to zoom in a bit. And then I'm going to use this Thinking of You. And I promise, my next lives, I'm going to stop making Thinking of Yous for a while, because I do that quite often. But I have some other card ideas in mind for next Wednesday, using 3D embossing folders that also have die cutting with it. So they have a coordinating die that cuts out a piece of the 3D embossing, and it's really neat. Then they go together. Anyway, I created a bunch of greetings and sentiments on my WordPerfect, and just, or not WordPerfect, boy, that's an old term, right? WordPerfect? Word document. And then I just printed them out and cut them out, and then I cut some black shadow layers to go behind it. So I'm just going to glue those together. I think I cut out 3 of these. I've already glued 2 together, and I'm going to glue the 3rd one. I just kind of wanted to see or show you, these are just scraps. So I like to, oops, sorry about that. I bumped the button on my Stream Deck. So anyway, I like to use scraps to build up dimension. All right, and then we're going to glue this tiny little strip and try to get it centered. I'm going to get some glue all the way to the edge. I'm going to pull this down as close as I can without getting my head in the way. And that looks good. We had a little commercial break. I have this Stream Deck that has buttons, so I don't have to mess with the mouse, and I have a button for each scene, and it's so touchy, but it was right, I just bumped it, and I'm glad I looked up at the screen, because I need to look up more often to see what you guys are seeing. All right, so that's that. I'm going to put the stone owl on top just to set that glue while we pop this up. We're almost done with this card. And I'm going to use some foam squares. These are just foam dimensional squares. They're sticky on the bottom, and then they have a release paper on top. And I'm just going to put a few, I mean, sometimes I cut these in half and you can really get them into every nook and cranny, but I don't think that that's necessary tonight. Are you guys all staying cool and beating the heat? Oops. I think a lot of the country is having this heat wave. Like I said, I wasn't going to put these everywhere, and here I am. Here I am doing just that. All right, just give those a good press down, and then I'm going to go ahead and release the papers. And for me, the easiest way is just to pierce it with this pick tool and twist them off. Sometimes the whole thing comes off, and I've ripped the back of my project doing this, so if you go slow, works a little bit better if you don't rush it, or just give them a good press down first before you start picking the backers off. Okay, where are my reverse tweezers? Here they are. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold these with my reverse tweezers just because it's easier for me to find out where I want to put it. All right, so I like to put things on an angle for some reason. I don't really want it straight up and down. If I made another one, you know, we could put one on the top and one on the bottom and the greeting in between, but I just have the one here, so I think I'm going to put it right about there. And then this guy's ready, and we'll glue him down. And I think we'll just tuck that right in like that. And now we're almost done, but not quite done. I am looking for, here it is. My new favorite thing, Wink of Stella. This is a gel glitter medium. I'm not sure if it's paint. It's like slime, but it's thin. And I need to shake it up. But that is what we're gonna just brush on these leaves to give them, and the centers of the flowers, to give them that sparkle. And so let me just shake this thing up. And I'm going to zoom in so you can really see what well, that's, my zoom is all the way in. So let me just go ahead and I'm just going to color in the center. You can kind of see that in the center of this flower. And I found, like with this Wink of Stella, if you go back and do a second coat, then it really, once I get this down, I'll put it up to the camera and show you. And then I'm just going to randomly select some of these leaves. Do one here. And let's go up here. See that? And maybe this one. And then get another coat. And Wink of Stella comes in many, many colors. This is clear, but they have like the lime color is really cool. And then they just have all kinds of colors. I think I'm gonna get this one over here just to add some shine there, and maybe one down here. All right, that's Wink of Stella. So that just gives a little bit of shine without putting like sequins or raised dots. And yeah, one more subscriber. I'm so close to 470. So yeah, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like and subscribe. And if you're watching the replay and like it, yeah, subscribe. I'd love to have you join. I do a video every Wednesday is live, and Sundays is a scheduled video. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern. So Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, Sundays at 1 p.m. You can catch another scheduled video. But that's the finished card project. So that was cool. Now next week, again, I'm going to do, I think 3 cards. I have 5 samples, but I think I'm just going to limit it to 3 cards for the live. But I'm doing the 3D embossing folders with a little twist on those. So that's it, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining, and thank you for watching the replay if you're here. And don't forget to hit the subscribe. Until next time, have a great week.